Well, good morning, my dear friend, whoever's watching this video. And maybe it's not a morning to you, but it is one for me. And since the nuclear apocalypse has not happened yet, I guess it's a wonderful time to start a YouTube channel, since I've been dwelling on this for quite a while now and I couldn't wrap my head around a certain direction or niche, so to speak. But I woke up this morning and told myself, hey, what are you doing, man? You're a grown-ass man. You lived a particular life. Half of your life in Russia, half of your life in Germany. Been to places, spoken to people that some people never speak to, and experienced a lot, made a lot of mistakes, and learned my lessons from it. This might be of value to some people out there. Maybe it is for you. So I've been blessed and sometimes feels like burdened to view the world through those lenses of those societies where the languages are spoken in. And again, blessed to see the world from the Western kind of view, but also from the other side. And I love to get here in the morning. I'm right now in Georgia, which is the country, not the US state. Some people are always wondering that there is actually a country called Georgia, not some state in the US. You know, this is what the beach looks like here. This is one of my favorite cafes that I like to come to in the morning to have my cappuccino and then walk my steps. I like to get in 10 to 15 steps a day right now to get leaner until summer and get in shape, which is one of the topics I'd like to cover on this channel, of how to get in shape and stay in shape at my age category. You know, I'm 37. I guess it's not that hard at 20 years old, but it gets harder once you get older. And how to do that without steroids, without hopping on gear, with simple things that you can apply into your life. Documenting this whole thing while also speaking on things that are interesting to me, that are concerning to me and maybe concerning to you. And one of those things is maybe a little bit sensitive, maybe a little bit personal, but I'd like to kick off the channel with this thing because it became more and more important to me, and it's probably the most important thing to me, you know, at all, which is Jesus Christ. Probably noticed that a lot of people are waking up to this thing. There is, you know, a revival, so to speak. And it's actually no wonder to me because it's not about religion. It was never about religion for me. It's not like I woke up one morning and told myself, hey, everybody has a religion, I gotta pick one myself too. No, it was actually the realization, and to my shame, it was the realization that it took the events in the world, but also personal events in my life, to actually wake up and to look around and to see, hey, what is actually going on? Because there's outright evil, satanic bullshit happening around us, and the people are just apathetic. And it's not because the people are so bad, it's because we were conditioned to it for years and years and years. I don't want to insult anyone or offend anyone, but at that point you gotta be pretty blind or ignorant or, you know, naive to not see what is happening. You know, take the last couple of Olympic Games, for example. Yeah, there's pentagrams and the mocking of the Last Supper and stuff. You know, this is not on coincidence. You know, this is happening on purpose. And it made me realize that one of the main reasons why we have this world of today, if not the main reason, is because we moved away so far away from God that we forgot about what this divine nature is behind this world, behind this physical reality that we perceive, what sin is, what that actually meant for us, why on you know, what things our societies, our cultures are actually based on. Because if you see the events are happening in Europe right now, I mean, I'm not stating the obvious things here. You probably know everything yourself, you know, with the whole immigration thing and Europe kind of losing its identity and stuff. The last couple of months, I was staying in Germany. And the difference, for example, with Georgia, where I'm currently residing, is that you have every village, every town, every little place, you know, in Germany has a cross, has a church, has Jesus Christ everywhere. But the people don't care at all. And the church has been compromised. People kind of went off their faith completely. At least in most cases, I'm not going to talk for all Germans, but you know, for the majority, this is the picture I see. And here in Georgia, for example, you can get up 6 o'clock in the morning and you walk around and you see little children going to school, kindergarten, whatever it is, and they walk beside a cross and they're just making a sign of the cross on their chest. You know, it's just, the faith is still present here. And maybe this is, maybe it's just one of the reasons why there is no such things as happening in Europe right now with, you know, all the violence, you know, towards women and other groups of people. You know, if you are a woman here in Georgia, in Batumi, Tbilisi, doesn't matter. You can walk around at 3 o'clock at night, not very modestly dressed. Nothing will happen to you. You know, children can walk around here in the middle of the night, nothing will happen to them. And not because, the state or the government or the police is so super effective. They probably are. But it's not that reason. It's the reason because none of the men, of the native men here, will allow it. As soon as they hear something or see something, they will storm in between and they will stop you. And this is the problem that I see in Europe right now, because people they're apathetic. Nobody cares. And it's not like I have something against European men or something like that. I'm one myself, okay? I was born in Siberia, raised in Germany. I've probably lived for 20 years in Germany. And tell you there's a lot to it. There's a very complex topic. There's a lot more to it than just, testosterone levels or something like that. No, it's actually, the agendas and the stuff happening behind it, because, people get conditioned to be apathetic and to do nothing. And then it becomes a behavioral thing, then becomes a, standard thing on how they live their lives. But anyways, the core reason of all of it is what I came to realize is because we went off the faith for real. This is a huge problem, for Europe, for America, for Russia as well. Although, Instagram and social media likes to picture it like Russia is this super Christian country and they are all based on something. They're not, believe me. They're not. And I'm gonna be real with you. I came to realize that the only thing that could probably get us back to the life we had is to return to biblical order. Because all of the stuff that they are hitting us today with, I can't even say who they is, with the pornography and the OnlyFans and the degenerate agendas that are being hammered into our brains, all of this. The only solution to that is to return to biblical order, to the life and the rules that Jesus Christ set up for us. This whole argument that I see or hear sometimes when I talk to people, oh, you still believe in religion, blah, blah, blah. Religion was created by men to control people. If that was true, why do they hate Christianity so much? Why do they hate Jesus Christ so much? Because I would actually argue, if you truly believe, and not just say, oh, I'm a Christian, I believe in it. But if you actually pick up the book, pick up the scripture, and you actually look into it, and you actually try to apply it in your life and live according to those things, you become the most uncontrollable person ever. Because if they tell you, you gotta go to your neighbor's country and kill your neighbors because then you're gonna be a patriot, because they're fascists, because we told you so. But Jesus is the highest authority, and he told me, do not kill. Love thy neighbor. You're not gonna be controlled. If they're trying to tell you that, this walks like a man, looks like a man, acts like a man, but is actually a woman, but that's not true, you're not very controlled either. And this applies to anything else in life, to marriage, to children, to your code of ethics, so to speak. It's all written in the book. And I would actually argue, if you live as a Christian, try to really live as one, you become the most uncontrollable person ever, because you actually have Jesus Christ as the highest authority, not some government, not some court, not some cop, even if it costs you, but that's what it's going to be. And this is the reason why they hate him, because it's the cheat code. So people will believe in a virgin, I believe Wes Huff said this, and it's beautiful. We believe in a virgin universe that emerged out of nothing, is still stretching with a speed that is exceeding the speed of light, is infinite, and all of this horse shit. But I will not believe in a virgin that gave birth to their very God, who decided to live a life in flesh, in a man, to show us the way. It's literally the story of Neo in the Matrix. Or the other way around, Matrix is the story of Jesus. I've seen this podcast with, I don't remember the name of the actor, but the one who plays Morpheus. He said this is the story of Jesus, basically, because, Morpheus is John the Baptist, and he was fighting the Matrix, but fighting this world, fighting the devil, basically. It is the story of Jesus. And for me, I came to realize that that is the cheat code. Because that is what worked for us. And that is what created the most powerful civilization ever. That created Europe. That was working for America. And now they're undermining it. They want to wash it down. They want to dissolve it to a point where we're just being controlled. It's all about power and control. But also, for our personal lives. Ever since, at least I'm trying to turn my life around. And I pray in the morning before going to bed, and I'm grateful, and I'm speaking to the man upstairs. Ever since, my life is getting better. believe it or not, because I was being ironic, I was being sarcastic even at 24, 25 about, you know, this whole loneliness epidemic and young men having issues, mental issues, you know. Used to say things like, you know, on the hype of this whole Andrew Tate thing with this alpha sigma male bullshit, like, you know, men used to go to war, and now you can't handle, you know, when some girl, you know, drops you or something like that. And ironically, everything of all of those things hit me last year like a brick, even at my age, where I thought it's not going to happen anymore. You know, from the loneliness to the heartbreak to everything. You know, I'm not going to go too much into detail with the personal things because, you know, maybe it's a topic for another video. But everything, you know, all of those things were hitting me like a brick last year. It was almost like something was to show me, hey, okay, that's so amusing to you, that's so funny to you. Let's see how you can handle it. Let's see how you can deal with it. And I did, and it made me realize that I probably should have been more compassionate, more understanding about, you know, other people around me, which is, again, all about the teachings of Jesus Christ. It's not like just pick the thing that I was born into in my culture, like people also always say, you know, oh, you were born as a Christian, so this is what you picked. No, I've actually looked into the Quran, looked into Buddhism, all the other stuff. It don't make too much sense to me. I see the effects in my personal life, and I see how other people are waking up to it and literally turning their life around. And I came to realize that this is the truth. You know, it was always the truth. It is what our societies, what our cultures were built on, and it worked for us. And we stepped away from it, and believing that this would make us free. If we make us free of religion, it just created a vacuum that is going to be filled one way or another. Whether with Islam, whether with some other bullshit, whether with straight out evil things, when people worship money, themselves, Instagram, idols, celebrities, whatever the fuck it is. But it turns out people are designed to worship something. So if you ask me, I'd rather worship the creator of the universe, the Alpha and the Omega, the one that is the source of absolute love and showed us the way out of this whole thing, instead of all the other bullshit that is actually draining my spirit or tearing on my soul. And this is what I'd like to talk about. But anyways, this is what I came to realize, especially over the last couple of months. Maybe you see it a different way. Let me know in the comments, what do you think about that? And if you have or had similar realizations over the last years, months, whatever, I'd like to hear it. See you around.